If you're feeling frustrated by your lack of progress in the gym or the fact that you've been stuck in pain for a while, just remember that adaptation takes time, and it's often not going to occur in a predictable fashion, especially if you've been training for a while. I think people get lost in the fact that physical adaptations in any way, shape, or form, whether that be like, improved rate of force development because you're recruiting more motor units and you're doing that faster, like that's an adaptation that's going to take some time, right? You have to create new neural networks. You have to basically learn to recruit more muscle. Building more muscle takes time, right? We know that muscle growth is relatively slow. It takes weeks to put on more muscle. Things like tendon adaptation can take a long time. It's often really useful to look at the tissue healing times of basically any tissue, and basically use that as like a metric for how long it takes this stuff to adapt, right? So bone takes 8 weeks to really fully remodel. It doesn't mean that it's not occurring when you do things. It just means that like to lay down more dense bone, it's going to take some time, right? And when you're looking at tendons can take a long time to heal, right? Weeks, if not months to heal. And truly getting out of pain, which is not always just a purely mechanical response or a mechanical problem. It's often just a sensitivity thing. Like taking that sensitivity down, which that sensitivity can be a form of an adaptation, can take some time. Same thing with ligament, same thing with muscle. All this stuff requires consistent imposed demands to create adaptations. So when you're feeling frustrated by your lack of progress, just remember that you're probably creating positive change as long as you're showing up and you're delivering the right dose of stress to yourself. And that's within a certain margin, right? There's no perfect amount of stress that we're going to be able to figure out how to dose ourselves with on a regular basis. We're just trying to get closer and closer to what seems to be helping us, what seems to be driving us forward based on creating some amount of objectivity in our training, right? So doing some objective testing at the beginning of like a training block if you want to, or just on a regular basis, right? A lot of this stuff you can train, you're training and you're testing almost continuously. But then you have to ride the waves of, you acquire skills, you acquire some fitness, but you also are going to build up fatigue, and also you have life stressors. Training is not occurring in a vacuum. So understanding that you have to manage your training in the gym and your mind and your body and your life outside of it can help you just ride the waves better. The biggest thing and often the most helpful thing is just to remember, if you show up continuously, you put forth effort, good things are going to happen if you just ride the waves. What often happens with people is they switch up the variables before they really ever get a chance to see where things are going. It doesn't mean you shouldn't switch programs. It doesn't mean you shouldn't manipulate variables, but oftentimes people get really antsy. They want results fast and they pivot. They make too much change too soon, and it costs them actually achieving what they want. A lot of training, a lot of getting out of pain, a lot of life is relatively boring. It's doing the same stuff over and over again. Like, it's truly being plateaued. When you're plateaued, you're actually making meaningful change, as opposed to, feeling like you're making rapid progress. That's usually just novelty in effect. That's all I got for today. Appreciate you being here. Peace.